After many years of playing through the series, I finally finished Assassin's Creed Origins. And I mean, I finished it. Every single mission, every side mission, every achievement, every location. I still have not started Odyssey due to all the fun objectives in this huge game. Last year, I read through Desert Oath. Well, I got the audiobook. I'm usually not much of a reader, but I figured I'd check it out, seeing as it was an official prequel to the game. And so it was that I first met the characters of Bayek and Aya through the novel, as opposed to the usual introduction via the video game. Every chapter kept me wanting more with a compelling narrative, which set up a strong background for the game's protagonists, building up the characters of a young Bayek and Aya quite well, along with some interesting supporting characters such as Rabia. Acting as the story of how Bayek becomes a Magi, this novel got me even more excited for the game, which I started within a few hours of finishing the book. Upon launching the game, you are met with a screen of hieroglyphs, and on the press of a button, the return of the old Animus sound, not heard as a starting prompt since before Unity. From this point, you get the sort of feeling that this will be a great game. On loading the game, a cutscene begins, with the first glimpses of the White Room, with pillars decorated with ancient looking symbols. The game starts off with an intense opening, as you get drawn into Bayek's world, and, like Bayek, your heart starts to beat more rapidly, as you get the feeling that yes, this is Assassin's Creed. A feeling that builds up, stronger and stronger, the more you play, until you reach Siwa, you're back home.
Welcome home, Bayek. Siwa has missed you.
The extra year of development was not spent for nothing, as the dialogue is as well written as the spectacular story. Through the first few missions of the game, we see that Bayek's narrative is that of a more personal and internalized nature. But before all of that, it becomes clear that the Magi is instantly a more likable character than those of previous titles, with a wide range of emotions that we get to see more of as we play through his story.
We will find you in your sleep! Sleep. I never sleep. I just wait in the shadows, and I will kill you all! Everyone who sniffed the air that day in Siwa!
This is made all that much better with the debut of Abu Bakr Salim and his phenomenal acting, both vocally and in facial expressions, which constantly uphold their high quality even in side missions.
Forget this day, Bayek. We should honor it. I officially name you the Flea of Cyrene.
I will treasure it. Goodbye, Ezio. Stay out of trouble.
I can't promise, but I will try for you, Great Flea. I hope you get to hunt with your son again soon.
So do I, Ezio.
In the video game, we get to see the development of relationships between Bayek and some interesting characters. Characters which are also quite easy to be invested in, particularly Shadia and Hepzibah, with some developed and memorable side missions to support the main story. A quick spoiler alert now, I'll blur until it ends. In terms of the targets, I really liked what they did with Tahaka. This was an unexpected turn of the story, and it was cool to see Bayek working with Senu to escape from the Scarab's trap. His story was enhanced in side missions, just as the Lizard's was. It was also quite fun to see how Memphis transitioned from a dull city in distress, encapsulated by the great colour scheme, to a vibrant, colourful city after the death of the Lizard. When it came to killing targets, the White Room builds upon the weakly explained changes in Unity, but in the best way possible, with a similar style to the original game, 10 years after its release. And it just looks so much cooler than in Syndicate. After many games with a limited memory corridor, weapons are permitted once more, previously available in full capacity in Revelations. I was briefly disappointed by what the team did with Eagle Vision. As Origins takes place so far back in time, I was hoping that they would show a more advanced Eagle Vision, due to a potentially higher concentration of Isu DNA. I felt it was a missed opportunity that this option was replaced with Animus Pulse, but we did at least get to see a bleeding effect into Layla. Saying that, we did get Eagle Vision, Literally. Even though we didn't get any new lore on higher level abilities, Senu was a great addition to the game, and it made sense that she is what we got. Senu, which roughly translates to sister or companion, acts as Bayek's sidekick, attacking and hunting by his side. The player is able to command and control her to act as an aerial scout, revealing hidden entrances and plans of attack to the sandbox missions. With the welcome return of horses, you're able to auto-navigate to your destination and switch to Senu in the sky. With photo mode, this allows you to take some stunning aerial shots as she follows Bayek. Oh, and camels are in the game, because why not? I usually rode camels where possible, especially when in the open desert. UB even went so far as to model an actual live camel with motion capture tech for the added sense of realism. One of the first things I realized when starting free roam was the removal of the database. No! What about Sean's witty comments? Well, that all makes sense with Layla Hassan, the modern day protagonist, employee of Abstergo. Within the first session of playing the game, I read everything immediately available on Layla's laptop, which had a variety of media and secret files, giving you a sense of what Layla was trying to put together about her employers and just how proficient she is as an engineer. The animus that we use to play the game is one of Layla's design. I do hope we see Sean again, of course, but Discovery Tours made the lack of a database worthwhile and understandable. With real translatable hieroglyphs dispersed throughout the open world, the devs put a lot of effort into the historical accuracy of this game, while keeping the game fun and interesting as usual.
Welcome to Ancient Egyptian Fashions. Learning what life was like for ancient Egyptians presents many differences, and yet also surprising similarities to how people might live today. Understanding the daily lives of regular citizens so many thousands of years ago is ultimately what connects us as human beings.
I played through some tours alongside the game, to showcase and explain the details that may have been missed without background knowledge, giving a deeper meaning to the already entertaining story. Each tour had some beautiful artwork and artifacts, with a virtual tour guide to relay a wide variety of historical information to you, as you have a pleasant walk through a combat-free environment. You can play as any character you choose, be it Bayek in one of his suits, Layla Hassan, or even an anonymous Roman, Greek, or Egyptian. You could even play as Camels. One of the final things I did this month, as I finished the game, was take in the scenery and explore the interactive world of Discovery Tours. And to top it all off, at the end of the final tour, I unlocked the final achievement of the game and White Senu. Throughout my many hours of playing through Origins, I enjoyed the vibrant open world and explored some more with White Senu. Although the minimap was changed to a compass-style navigation bar, allowing for a more minimal HUD, I still removed this from view, something I've always done since Black Flag. I loved how there was always something to do. I completed every side mission, or at least I think I did, because quite annoyingly, there was no progress bar. I did check the wiki and other sources before using Ubisoft Club, which told me that I have completed 100% of the game. But it also tells me that in my over 120 hours of playing the game, I have assassinated over 900 NPCs with over 1.38 kilometers traveled. In my time traveling across the hot desert, I heard many hallucinations, from whispers to the audio of battle to a floating scarf in the air. I spent a great deal of time in the desert, a few hours straight, just to have the overheating achievement for a hallucination. Of all the achievements in the game, this was the most painful to obtain. Navigation was made to be very exciting, with almost everything being climbable. Once you reached the top of huge, scalable cliffs, you could simply zipline back to the ground, or, of course, take the leap of faith, a feat that is made more exhilarating with the return of diving underwater, a notable absence from Unity and Syndicate. Footprints can be left in the sand, and the audio design was fantastic. Echoes were audible in the caves and tombs of Egypt, and the soundtrack was reminiscent of older games while still retaining its unique quality to match the game's vibrant and at times stellar open world.
Papa, what is best in life?
To seek justice and truth. To live with honor. To protect the weak and the poor. And to love your mother.
My friend Kenan said it was to crush our enemies and to hear the lamentations of their women.
We are Magi, son. Not barbarians. Apis, the bull god. He is the strength of the Pharaoh. Each year, he is born as a calf with special markings. The Pharaoh finds this calf and worships it.
The darkness of the tombs called for a torch to be carried by Bayek at all times, allowing for some unique combat maneuvers in the game, with the change in combat. The arena was a great place to showcase the faster, more fluid movements, with the multiple weapon options of the game, which famously leaned into the RPG elements. This allowed me to change my playstyle throughout the game, and I was pleased to see the return of the sweep mechanic. The fire of the torch could be used to set enemies on fire, or even to set your arrows on fire, but I chose instead to use a pre-lit bow and arrow. Starting off the game with a hunter and light bow, I switched the hunter for a warrior as Bayek gained skill and attack points. Similarly, I switched my original setup of dual swords and a regular sword to a heavy blade and regular sword. As legendary items are obtained, perks come along with them, including sleep, poison, and fire. I only tackled the war elephants once I was at a higher level, but also I only discovered them at a higher level. As you explore the map, the level ratings of your enemies increase, as does your skill level. It was sad to see the end of double assassinations due to only one hidden blade, but this was made up for with chain assassinations, which let Bayek assassinate an enemy and impale one of their friends. With the reappearance of hunting, last seen in Rogue, some big improvements were made, changing the combat style from quick time events and expanding the crafting menu to involve the hidden blade. It was unfortunate though, that through the process of adding skill levels to enemies, all assassination playstyles do not work on those at higher level until crafting is completed. The skill tree truly has something for everyone, and skills naturally get more powerful as Bayek gains experience as a hidden one. I only tackled the trials of the gods once I completed the main story. They acted as a way for Bayek to fight the challenging Sekhmet, Sobek, and Anubis, and of course, I beat all of them, but I won't show you my fails. From this point on, there will be spoilers. This is your chance to leave the video if you don't want the game spoiled for you. Hello people who have already played Origins. Like previous DLC of the series, the dev team produced large areas solely for the purposes of both DLC packs, with the Sinai Peninsula for the hidden ones, and Thebes for the Curse of the Pharaohs, having previously been encountered in Desert Earth. Filled with hours of gameplay, the DLC of Origins may be my favourites of the series. The hidden one serves as an additional epilogue to the game, with the expansion of the Brotherhood, the origins of the first tenet of the Creed.
I will remind you. First and foremost, stay your blade.
From the flesh of an innocent. I know.
And a hint at the third tenet.
Our oath. So they have a true creed to study.
The hidden ones will pass on to Petra and towards Judea. And forever. The creed must live beyond anyone.
No one shall be bigger than the greater group. When I return to Rome, I will not speak of heroes. I will speak of discipline and perseverance.
Amunet is a mentor to this brotherhood. Our will never rests.
and our blades shall never tire.
Sinai is a very vertical landscape. By that, I mean that there are a lot of cliffs and zip lines for navigation, which is a nice change of scenery from the smooth desert, reminding me of Cappadocia. It was cool to see the Scarab's son a few years after the death of his father, as he redeemed himself and joined the Brotherhood. As for the Curse of the Pharaohs, there were some fun gameplay opportunities here, like giant scorpions that you can hunt. It is hinted at that a relic allows Bayek to travel to the afterlives of various pharaohs, where he fights them and puts them to rest. It is implied that they may be Isu, or at least they used relics. The world size for this DLC is much bigger than for Sinai, especially when you add the extra area from the afterlives, which all have their own distinct styles and appearances. The White Room is special for this DLC, as it involves gods and pharaohs, and again, it just looks great. The DLCs even allow for higher skill levels, extending to level 55. I thoroughly enjoyed both of them, but I would say that I preferred the Curse of the Pharaohs, which offered the most difficult boss fights, with the high health pharaohs ending Bayek in a few hits. This makes their eventual deaths that much more satisfying. I think this is the closest we've gotten to a possible glimpse into the Great. Speaking of Juno, I thought it was a huge disappointment that her story would not finish in a AAA game. This was super anticlimactic for such a major character in the series. She was the huge threat to come out of Desmond's sacrifice, and she was building up to be a huge player in the modern day story. For her story to end in a comic book arc, I was gutted. It made sense due to the characters involved. This would have felt out of place in Origins, but still, if they had managed to work Juno's story into this game, or even a future release, that would have been amazing. Especially when you consider how little modern day story is in Origins. The most we get is the conversation with William Miles. It was just not as exciting as it could have been after years of build-up, to finally end in a comic. Moving on. The first Civ story was much better in its execution. Visiting tombs allows you to discover messages left by the Isu, and leads to some really intriguing plot threads. Included in these messages are hints at those who came before those who came before, a potential pre-Isu civilization.
None could change what we discovered, the stories written into the walls of these rooms. By whom, we never knew.
The tombs expanded the existing lore well, and they were a true highlight of the exploration of the open world. Going forward, I hope Ubisoft delves into the now mentioned simulation of reality, and how Layla could change the past through her animus, collapsing the wave, breaking the code, and avoiding the incoming catastrophe, which we now know was only delayed by Desmond. We have not had something this big in terms of the first Civ story in many games. In a way, it reminds me of Assassin's Creed 2, with all the hints of what is to come, coupled with conspiracy-style information a la Subject 16's glyphs.
What if reality wasn't what you thought it was? What if this was all a construction? A masterfully crafted simulation? You know such things exist. You've been in the Animus before. In fact, aren't you in one right now? You know just how real a simulation can feel, even when it has long vanished.
You do not understand what is at stake. The reader has no power. He is but an observer. But the author invents the future. The author owns the future. A future where, just perhaps, we can all still exist together.
The code is a bridge, a single point of cohesion between your civilization and mine.
We removed our ability to read those stories from your original template. Just as you were blind. You may read your watch, you may read hourglasses and calendars, but you cannot grasp beyond that simplistic surface. For now, the true reading of time still escapes you.
Time is unyielding. It always corrects itself. And so
things that are. Remember, nothing is real. Everything is permitted.
Throughout my time playing Assassin's Creed 2, Origins, I completed everything that the game had to offer, with a minor exception of pre-order bonuses and the secrets of the first pyramids, which I may play in the future. Every mission, side mission, DLC, all gear was made to be legendary, all crafting items crafted, every viewpoint, every arena boss, every hippodrome race, every tomb, every trial of the gods, every achievement, even that really weird Final Fantasy crossover. With so much to do, Assassin's Creed Origins is a game that I would highly recommend. It kept me excited throughout my time playing it, so much so that I will only be starting Odyssey when this video comes out. The most I have enjoyed an Assassin's Creed title in years. I leave you now in the capable hands of Bayek and Aya.
We must sacrifice our personal lives for the greater good. All this darkness was for a reason.
I was wrong to be so reckless in public without killing. We must work in the shadows.
Egypt has fallen. Greece also. And Rome will fall too. All will fall to the creed, yet no one will know.
When we assassinate only those who deserve it. The few sick souls who try to control us. But they will never know who we are. Cold, calculated, poets of the kill.
I am fine with this. I am not a father anymore. I am not a husband. I am not a Magi. I am a hidden one.
Yes. We are the hidden ones.
We sharpen our blades, pull what hope is left from this foul earth.
Good, Bayek of Siwa. What are you of now?
A new creed. Ours is finished.